emails from you?
Yes.
Okay.
But we will go ahead and get started, and people can continue to log in as I do our welcome. But thank you all who have joined us already. We're excited to have you in today's Spring into Health event. My name's Haven Spanier, and I'm the Senior Director of Programming at the University of South Carolina's Alumni Association. And it's my pleasure to get to introduce our host today. Before we get started, just a few reminders. First of all, I'd like to thank Prisma Health for making today's event possible. I also want to remind you all how you can get us your questions. So if you have any throughout the event, we want to hear those. You can either type those into the Q&A or the chat, whatever is easiest for you. If you're not super familiar with Zoom, there should be a panel across the bottom of your screen. There's a chat button and a Q&A button, so you can feel free to type any questions you have in there. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's host. Dr. Holmes received his medical degree from the University of South Carolina School of Medicine in Columbia, where he currently serves as a clinical assistant professor of orthopedic surgery. He completed his internship at Palmetto Health Richland in Columbia and his residency at Palmetto Health Richland and Shriners Hospital for Children in Greenville, South Carolina. He completed a fellowship in orthopedic sports medicine at the American Sports Medicine Institute in Birmingham, Alabama, and is board certified by the American Board of Orthopedic Surgery. So thank you so much, Dr. Holmes, for joining us today. I'm really excited about your topic.
Wow, thank you for that long introduction. Welcome everyone. We're in the Golf Performance Lab in Apex Performance Center here in Lexington, South Carolina. And I really want to make this interesting for everybody. It always makes me a little uncomfortable when I can't see your faces or who's participating, because I'm not sure what's of interest to everybody. But today we're going to be talking about golf performance and how sports science interacts with that and what we've got going on over here at Apex. So we asked Chevy Chase to be our, can you see this video, Haven? We asked Chevy Chase to be our chief golf instructor and backed out on it.
I do not see the video. I see your PowerPoint.
Okay. Well, I have a great video. Not going to get to see. So can they hear it?
If you
but anyway,
we'll
skip that part. So anyway, back to the talk. So, we started our program because we have a big sports medicine program here in South Carolina. Golf is a big industry. We spend $2.7 billion in output or sales in golf each year, and there are 450 golf courses in South Carolina. So there's a lot of golfers around, and we try to address that need. When you're talking about injuries or performance, golfers, about 80% of the true golf injuries come from overuse, and that can be either just because you swing too many times, or more often it's from poor technique. You create stress in certain areas of your body, and you aggravate pre-existing conditions. And the pro golfers typically will see a lot of injuries in the wrist, back, shoulders, and hips from overuse. But in amateurs, we'll tend to see injuries in the lower back and elbows, gripping the club too hard, poor technique, poor movement patterns. So our golf program is led by Puggy Blackman. Many of you may be familiar with him. He's been a PGA pro since 1977. He's been selected to the Hall of Fame. He's spent over 40 years coaching. He was the head men's coach at both Georgia Tech and USC. He's recently retired from coaching women's golf at USC as well. He's coached a number of pro golfers around the world, including David Duval, Michael Clark, Kyle Thompson, and Hang Lee. But Puggy is he's the brain trust of our golf side of our program. The other guys involved in our program include me. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon, and translated, you go into sports medicine if you really wanted to be a professional athlete, but you weren't good enough, so you had to treat athletes instead of be an athlete. But Puggy leads up our Haven. Can they see my arrow on the screen?
Yes.
If I move my cursor.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So Puggy leads us up. He's our golf pro. I'm the orthopedic surgeon involved. Jay Patel, he is our sports biomechanics specialist, and he's a key part of the organization. That he's the smart guy that understands all the forces, vectors, et cetera, when it comes to sports science. And he got his PhD at Auburn in kinesiology. Robbie Engel is our master's level athletic trainer who works with the golfers and patients as well. And Josh Vaughn is our physical therapist that's committed to golf. So essentially what we're doing is a holistic approach to golf. That means, we want people to play better, enjoy a healthier, more active lifestyle. We focus on swing fundamentals. We try to combine this into a medical model. That is, we're working on strength, flexibility, and fitness, body motion, and the mental approach. If you've noticed in the pro golf world, maybe Tiger Woods was the start of that, but everybody got into fitness. Used to be they showed up and played golf. Now they've all got personal trainers and physical therapists. Well, it's because they realized it would make them more competitive and probably prevent injuries along the way. So the golf program here is part of our Apex athletic performance. And just to mention what we do, our Apex story, we have two locations. One's at our Lexington office. The other is down on UG Street. But it's an integral part of our sports medicine program. Our sports medicine program involves orthopedic surgeons, non-operative doctors. We have over 30 athletic trainers that are committed to going to over 30 high schools. We take care of numerous colleges, including UofSC, Newberry, South Carolina State, and others. And what this does, it closes the loop between injury and athletic performance. So if you'll look at my little diagram over here. So if you're an athlete, you either want to get bigger, stronger, faster, or perform better, and Apex can serve that need. If you get injured, you end up seeing your athletic trainer, either the physical therapist or the doctor. You may require surgery to fix your problem. And then you're back in physical therapy. Well, traditional physical therapy doesn't really get somebody ready for sports. After an injury, we allow them to start training, but Apex bridges the gap between returning to low-level activity and performance in sports. We do it for all different injuries. Golf is an example. Imagine an ACL injury. We allow people to jog at 3 months, but they really can't play their sport till they hit 7 or 8 months post-op, and Apex bridges that gap. So we work with all ages, all sports, all level of competition, but golf is one part of that Apex story. With the part of Apex, we have our motion analysis lab. Hey, Haven, let me ask you one other question. Do the pictures get in the way of my screen? Does it matter where the pictures are located on the screen?
No, you're good.
Okay. So anyway, our motion analysis and performance lab, basically it's a biomechanics lab. So we're able to analyze almost any human motion in 3D and 2 and 3 dimensions. We focus on the golf swing, baseball throwing, the tennis swing, running, baseball swing in addition to the throwing. We've had performing arts, dancers here. We do gait analysis. That includes runners. And if you'll notice this picture, we do pediatric gait analysis. The pediatric orthopedic surgeons utilize this facility to try to determine gait disturbances in children. and optimize their treatment. We can also do metabolic analysis. That includes VO2 maxes and resting metabolic rates. And for example, the resting metabolic rates, our nutritionist utilizes that information to help patients on weight loss programs. And these are just some pictures of what we might pick up in our throwing lab. This is just an example of how we analyze motion, where you see the multiple pictures of the phases of throwing. And what the computer generates is these stick skeletons here, and the reflective markers we placed on the body at different joints allows us to calculation speeds of motions, forces, torques, etc. And then we compare these to normal, like in throwing, we compare it to normative values. In golf, we compare it to what, elite golfers do, where in the swing those forces are taking place, and how to optimize your performance. I don't think this video is going to play, but these stick figure skeletons, we've done basketball players. We have force plates in the floor that allow us to calculate ground reaction forces and to help people with mechanics on jumping and running. So anyway, that's the background behind the Apex. So our golf program, we're basically involves a golf swing analysis. Now, and Puggy Blackman, our golf pro, heads that up. We do a fitness assessment. That is, do you have limitations in your flexibility or strength of muscle groups? And then a biomechanical analysis that focuses on how well you can move your body in certain circumstances. And then the therapist and the orthopedic surgeon get involved if necessary. So, and so we basically do an intake. What are you expecting out of the program? Are you here to improve your golf performance? Are you recovering from an injury? And then we work with the clients and decide what their commitment is and how involved they want us to be. As far as the technology, I think many of you have seen this on TV. The Flight Scope is our launch monitor, where you swing a golf club, hit a ball, and you can tell how far it goes, the spin on it, the swing speed, the ball speed, etc. More data than will make your head spin. But we use that information to help the golfer optimize their swing. Swing View, this is a 3D camera system that allows us to see the golfer in multiple planes. And all clients are required to wear clothing just like this when they come to be analyzed. But anyway, this gives especially Puggy, the opportunity to see your swing in multiple planes. And then Body Track probably is it's a force plate in the floor. Now, Puggy's going to talk about this more in a minute, but the ground is your friend. Utilizing the force from the ground is where you can generate speed and consistency and strength in your swing speed. So this allows us not only to look at, but it measures the forces of the ground and how you're transferring your weight to generate swing speed. I'm going to play a video. Please tell me it works, because it's a good video of one of our clients who has really improved his golf game. So Haven, tell me if they can see this or not.
I still see your PowerPoint.
How do I?
I think you'll have to unshare your screen and reshare your entire screen.
A new share?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got you. Is that working?
Yes.
Here we go.
We can't hear it though.
Can't hear it.
You have to
How can I make them?
share with computer audio when you share your screen.
Hang on a second. Do this. Say that again, Haven.
If you unshare and reshare, there should be a little button that you can click to share your computer audio.
Okay. And share screen. And there's the share sound.
Yep.
Yeah. Should I click optimize for video clip?
Sure.
We're going to optimize. Okay. You can hear it.
Hi, I'm Puggy Blackman. I am the Director of Golf Instruction here at Apex Golf Performance. The main focus here is I want to help people get better. What we're doing here in the lab is first of all, we've got to get a golf swing that's effective, as powerful as possible, and repetitive. We're first looking at what is your body capable of doing? Are there limitations? If there are limitations, can these limitations be improved? Can we make you move better? We have a whole team of specialists here that join in on this assessment that allow people to understand, I want to know my optimal golf swing.
We have the wealth of knowledge and the brain trust to basically work with these players and help them play the best golf they can play. What's even more important is we've got some of the leading orthopedic physicians here who are specialized in every part of the body. We use high-speed cameras, different angles, so that we're able to capture the physical and the visual part of the golf swing. We have the Flight Scope launch monitor, which provides us direction, carry distance, spin, how solid they're hitting it, angle of attack. With the body track, foot pressure, we're able to see what's going on. How are they moving the body? How is the pressure shifting? Are they shifting? How do we get all of it to come together at impact?
Hi, I'm Marty Keeney. I'm a retired Navy helicopter pilot, and I am fully retired as of about 2 years ago. The facilities here at Apex with Puggy are state of the art. It's got everything you need here to be able to work on adjusting your individual swing to maximize your performance. I tended to slice the ball more than I would like to in an unpredictable fashion, and he's been able to help me, number one, understand why that's happening in my swing, make adjustments so that I have a more power fade that's consistent, and that's enabled me to hit a lot more fairways, to be able to hit a lot more greens. And I've gone from being about an 8 handicap down to currently a 3 handicap. So it's really had a big impact. I'd recommend Apex Sports Golf to anyone from never picked up a club to someone who's played for 50 years. You'll understand your golf swing and how to make it better.
My name's Curtis Ledke. I play golf professionally. I'm constantly traveling. I came to Apex after I met Puggy Blackman. It's been a wonderful experience. You have the staff here to come up with a program to make sure that you're really taking care of the issues that you find. It's done wonders for my golf game. Just the knowledge, knowing what I need to improve on are key to moving forward, especially at the level of golf that I play.
What we're simply trying to do is help people play better golf, enjoy the game, to be able to play as an athlete. We want them to be able to understand enough about their golf swing, that when they're playing golf, that they do have some idea of what their tendencies are. And we'll talk about things that will, again, simply help them get better.
Did y'all see that? Did that come over, Haven?
Yes, we still see your YouTube screen, but we saw the video.
Okay. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, I love golf. That's why I'm involved with our Apex program. My personal story was Puggy got me from a 17 handicap down to a 9 handicap, which is probably my ceiling. Maybe I can never get better than that. But anyway, it definitely works if you're interested in that, in improving your golf game. Now, I just was going to mention a few things about how I typically get involved with the golfers is for injuries. And you can injure just about any part of the body, like we've listed here, playing golf. Most of them are overuse injuries and injuries due to poor mechanics. So essentially what my role is, I will help the golfer get over their injury, or athlete from any sport, get over their injury, and then I turn them over to the physical therapists and the golf lab so that they can work their way back into sports. So the next thing I wanted to do was allow Puggy to. Can you see my screen?
No, I still can't see your screen, just your video.
Oh my. Sorry guys, I'm technologically challenged. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Okay, but anyway, I just have a list of many injuries you can get, but the next thing we really wanted to do was let Puggy say a few words. And can you see me, Haven?
Yes.
Okay, I've lost my okay, there we go. So anyway, next I'd like to introduce Puggy Blackman. He's our head of golf here at Apex Golf Performance, and let him say a few words about our golf program. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Glad you're here at Apex. It's a very exciting facility. I retired from UofSC about just over a year ago, and happened to be over one day visiting Jay Patel, saw their Mac Daddy motion analysis system. It was just blown away with what I saw at Apex. And the main thing that as a coach, as a 40-year coach, my background has been to help people get better. And what has happened over 40 years is I've had a tremendous desire to learn. And the bottom line of what I did for 40 years was try to help people get better. And that could be anywhere from juniors to college players, amateurs, and right up to a guy that turned out to be number one in the world, who I'm still working some with. But anyway, our whole focus here is to help people get better. And we've been doing this for about a year with that primary focus. What we thought we would see here is people coming in with pre-existing injuries, limitations physically, things like that. And we've seen some of that, but the thing we have seen for the most part are people getting a whole lot better simply because they have changed the motion of their body. I think what we're seeing mostly are people who have some sort of a perception or of the way the golf swing works. We're inundated with information from books now to a 24-hour channel telling you how to hit a golf shot, how to hit a chip shot, whatever. And what we're seeing mostly is people that their motion is somewhat inhibited. It's a controlled motion. It's not a very athletic motion. So across the board, what we're seeing is that bringing people in and getting them to improve the motion of their body and learn that in the golf swing, primarily starting with the ground up. I've been very fortunate the last couple of years to work with a gentleman by the name of Terry Hashimoto out of Canada, who developed the body track and is doing a lot of good stuff with ground pressure. And you're seeing a lot of this with Bryson DeChambeau, people like that. There's a lot of emphasis now. People are catching on that to be athletic, we have to use the ground. And so we're seeing that. And it's a very simplistic approach. We're not here to replace your local golf professional. We're here to kind of enhance what he's doing, to give them an opportunity also to get involved with their clients here on helping their pupil or their member or whatever get better. We're a part of that. So we're seeing great success here. We're seeing in 40 to 50 minutes, we're seeing as an example, we just recently had a gentleman in who was a former college football player, 85 years old, had given up the game because he could not produce any speed. Within 30 minutes,
He'd picked up 10 miles an hour with a wedge and 20 yards. We had an Olympic swimmer, our diver here, or a All-American diver came in when we first got started. Beautiful golf swing, perfect technique. And the unfortunate thing, there was no speed. And within 45 minutes, his 6-iron went from about 164 yards to 214 yards. And we're seeing that across the board. And the thing is, the common thing we hear is, wow, I didn't know I could swing that fast. Well, that's the whole purpose. We want to be able to swing the club with speed in order to enjoy the game and hit the ball where we can play an enjoyable round of golf. So we'd love to have you come by, take a look and see what's going on here. But we are looking to become the place where, regardless of your playing level as a golfer, where you're coming here to get better, to rehab, to from a motion standpoint, to get stronger, faster, and play a game at a level that you've probably never played before. So we look forward to having you here. So come see us at Apex.
So, Haven, do you have any questions?
Yeah, this is a great time for anyone who has questions, who's watching. You guys can type those into either the chat or the Q&A. And just a reminder, that's across the bottom of your screen, both of those buttons. Let's see, first one, this person joined a few minutes late, but they're wondering if there are any Apex locations in Greenville.
They're wondering what?
If there are any Apex locations in Greenville.
In Greenville, they're not, unfortunately, but some of the guys at Stedman Hawkins do some motion analysis, but they don't have a golf biomechanics lab. You're welcome to come down here, and we'll work with our partners up there to develop their program.
We're actually, to be honest with you, we're starting to see almost not only a regional response, but we are having people. We have a young man coming in from Bermuda, 12 years old, that wants to, his family wants to make sure he gets off to the right start, that he's not doing things that might create injuries. And the one thing I've got to tell you is, Wendell mentioned earlier about Tiger Woods and having and working with David Duval. David was #1 in the world. There seems to be a pattern where when these guys become the best in the world, the next thing they do is then try to become, they somewhat become a god to the media and fans, and then all of a sudden they want to develop a body, a godlike body. And if you watch the history of David Duval, Tiger Woods, a little bit of Rory McIlroy, look at Koepka now, they get into this really intensive bodybuilding, and in a lot of ways, and the game itself is pretty tough on the body, but with all of this heavy duty workout, you're seeing that their careers are shortened by injury. And that's what we're trying to do, is to get people to understand it's not bodybuilding. And to be honest with you, it's the approach we use to help people develop speed is so simple that I don't care whether you're 15 or 105, it's all the same. And we're learning a lot about ground pressure and getting people to understand. We've all been taught to make this weight shift, and that is not the case. It's a pressure shift. And once we get people to understand what pressure is with the feet, everything falls into place. There's no more keep your eye on the ball, keep your head still, whatever. We want to see the body moving, but if it moves properly, those things take place. So we're not into a lot of technique, but what we see is when people turn their body and use their body and get the motion in the right place, generally the technique improves. So.
Awesome, thank you. Next question is, what is the intro package at Apex like?
The what?
Like an introductory package if someone wanted to start.
Well, what we do is, and I think this is one of the best kept secrets in America. The people that have come through this are pretty excited about it. But what we do is we do a fairly intensive 2 hours with a person. We have actually Jay Patel, who is one of the reasons I'm here. Jay is an extremely talented, knowledgeable biomechanical person. So what we do is we run them through something that's a little bit more sophisticated than what's called a TPI, or Titles Performance Assessment, and that's to look at a lot of different things: flexibility, strength, any possible injuries that we're looking at. They're using equipment to determine where the blood flow is, all that kind of stuff. So we get an idea of what's going on with the body. Do we have any issues here that we need to be particularly watching as we bring them into the golf lab? What we do not want to do is try to create a motion of the body that creates speed if the body's not capable of handling that. We don't want to hurt people. We don't want to aggravate injuries. So what we do is once they go through the physical screening, then in a motion analysis, they come into the golf lab where basically Jay will come in and watch the session with me as we look at them hitting golf balls with their current swing. What are we seeing? And then we're able to then break it down and look at their motion and show them how do we change that motion and create more speed and consistency. And again, across the board, as we see people that are just like, I can't believe how simple this is, and they've gotten better. So what does that mean? That means they come in for a couple of hours with Jay and myself and Robbie, and go through this complete analysis with a follow-up within maybe a week to 10 days, 2 weeks afterwards. And that whole process is $370, which is, I think, one of the best deals in America, and people that come through have agreed. So that's what we start with. And then once they go through that initial assessment.
Costs more than that,
Yeah.
just for the record.
And what we do is once they go through that assessment and follow up, then they can come back for 50-minute evaluations and assessments where we can follow their progress. Are you getting better? They also leave that initial assessment with a packet of different things to do as far as their body exercises, that type thing. So it's a very, I think it's a very reasonable area. It's a very reasonable price, and I think they get a lot of information. And again, all we want them to do is get better. And I think what we're seeing now, people leave here going back, getting with their own pro, and we've also had locally George Bryan, former player at South Carolina, whose son Wesley won the Heritage. George was in a few weeks ago and saw some things that he was extremely impressed. We did some things with George's own motion and swing that made a huge difference. And he's going to be actually doing something for us on video next week. So what we're doing is this is good. This is good for anybody that wants to play golf, get better at it. And again, we welcome them, local professionals, and we're already starting to see people from a national level starting to pick up on what we're doing and come to Columbia. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, definitely. All right, next one. Is there any interest or capacity to bring in undergraduate researchers or volunteers?
The short answer is yes. And I think Jay Patel is the contact person for that. In fact, he works with a number of students and graduate students already.
Awesome, thank you. So all of you out there who are interested in getting involved, you know who to contact now. Okay, could you all just speak a bit to how you got into the work that you do now here?
Well, for me, you want me to start? So, my specialty is orthopedic sports medicine. The reason, so I tell you, everybody that's in sports medicine are frustrated athletes or got injured while playing sports. Probably not everybody, but so the reason I got into sports medicine, I tore my knee up playing football when I was 16, had ACL surgery, etc. I didn't decide then that I wanted to be a doctor. Then I went to engineering school, and I was actually an engineer for a few years before I was a Clemson grad. Full disclosure, I did go to UofSC School of Medicine. So, but anyway, then once I got into medicine, the orthopedics was a natural thing for me. I like fixing things, and I love sports. So, what else but sports medicine? And then, everything comes full circle now in medicine. You talk about sports science. You see it on ESPN and you think it's cool and everything like that. We're really utilizing this to treat patients, make them better, and improve performance. So this is why I'm interested in the biomechanics lab, and that's why I ended up working with Puggy and Jay. And then, what about you, Puggy?
Well, I'd say probably the bottom line with me is that there's a huge difference, I think, and I've talked about this for a number of years with golf professionals during seminars when I was at Georgia Tech and here, and that is the fact that, I think that teaching should evolve into coaching. I mean, my job has been to coach and to get players better, and that encompasses the teaching part, the video, the technique. That's a part of it, but the really the bigger piece of the pie here is getting a person to play their best. We've got to not only get them to swing the club properly, but we've got to get them. The most important thing is they've got to know short game. They've got to be able. You can't be a good enough ball striker to play this game at a high level with a really great scoring game, and that's something that we do in addition to the assessment here is to get into scoring and also the mental game. I've been fortunate. I've worked with a gentleman by the name of Dr. Bob Rotella since 1989. Brought Bob in to help me learn how to be a coach, and then a lot of other people along the way that have helped me develop as a coach. So my bottom line is we not only want you to swing the club well, but we want you to play better. We want you to enjoy it. We want you to understand the way the mind works, that we have to understand that there's a part of the mind that's great for working on getting better technically and a lot of different ways, but we got to learn that also the part of the mind that allows us to do extraordinary things is that subconscious part that a lot of people are never understand, and they're never taught. So, again, what we bring here is again, it's an overall holistic approach. And again, we want to get people better. And I've been doing it for a long time with college players, and scoring game is just huge. And, you got to be an incredible wedge player, putter, chipper, whatever. And so much of that is touch and feel. And people don't understand that touch and feel means that we're not thinking mechanics. We're being an athlete, and it takes some work. But anyway, so it's an exciting frontier that we're into right now.
It's really cool. Thank you. All right, I see one more question. So if anyone has any last minute questions, go ahead and type those into the chat so we make sure we get to them. But this one is, what is the most common golf swing error that you see in people?
I would say, again, not understanding what foot pressure means. It's so simple, it will drive you crazy, but getting people to understand that it's a pressure shift or pressure trace. And pressure means that if I simply get somebody to do a march with each foot, okay, that is a total, when the pressure leaves the lead foot, goes into the trail foot, and then vice versa. That's all that happens. It's not this way, okay? It's not a weight or a mass shift. And getting people to simply understand how to use the ground and that pressure, and then basically syncing up the upper body with that. Understanding what is lag. We can't have lag without speed. People talk about lag all the time. Well, I mean, nobody seems to understand it, but we cannot lag the club head without the speed of the body, and understanding that the ground, it starts at the ground. It starts feet, ankles, knees, thighs, hips, chest, shoulders, club head, and it's a sequence.
And it's really simpler than what he makes it sound. So everything, it sounds like, well, I got to move my feet like this. Once you start transferring your weight or that pressure, then your hips start to rotate correctly, your torso rotates correctly, and lo and behold, the ball goes where you meant it to go. And so so working from the ground up is what Puggy's talking about, building swings. And I think that's a huge take-home message. And the technology really helps because you can see it on the screen. I put more weight here than I did there. I'd shifted my weight right or wrong. And it's very quick feedback.
All that technology sounds amazing. All right. Well, thank you both for joining us today. I really appreciate your time and presentation. Thank you everyone who joined for today's event. And a big thank you again to Prisma Health for making today's event possible. We have lots more events with Prisma up on our events page, UofSCalumni.org/events, if you all are interested in registering for more. But thank you again to both of you for presenting today. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Haven.
Hope to see you again soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye.